humans, welcome back to Let's Talk Roleplay. We're your hosts, Mr. Conniption and Rez. This is a podcast. I'm reading this name. Give me a break. God dang it, I tried to be so professional, and now I can't. Here we go.
It's ruined.
It's ruined. A podcast centered around roleplay discussion and generally how to be a more supportive and thoughtful role player, which I just showed you with my energy right there. We're your hosts, Mr. Conniption and Rez, which I already did. I'm Rez from Aliens for Humans. Today's topic is welcoming new role players by generating shared RP. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. My man's on it. We got smoke today. We got sparklers. We got whales at some point. Pretty excited about those whales, Mr. Conniption.
Got you some smoke there.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. We got smoke. I hope you guys are having a great day out there. You loved. We're going to be talking a lot of roleplay today. We're going to be brainstorming ways on our topic here, welcoming new role players by generating shared RP. What does that mean to us? What can we get out of it? How do we help new people on their journey through roleplay? How does that affect a new role player when their first interaction is someone super supportive and welcoming them into the community, not just by saying, hey, welcome, but by literally figuring out ways to help them get associated throughout the community and start to build RP for themselves, whether they turn out to be one of your best friends or somebody you don't even talk to, going out of your way to make them feel comfortable and having some shared RP experience with that, right? Today, we have one of the best humans on the planet at this, but I'm not going to say their name. I'm going to do a little build first. Do we got build music? Perfect. I got a whole family outside. Christmas lights are ready. We got lots of brrr. Everybody at home, give me the brrr. Brrr. Today's guest joins us all the way from somewhere in the United States of America. She's a 3-time All-American Roleplay Winner of the Year, a 6-time Most Supportive Player of the Year. She's a streamer, a dreamer. She's a mom, a friend to many, an inspiration to all. She's a birth worker who's helped birth more than 50 human children into the world, and who knows how many animals. She's got tons of roleplays experience. And my favorite thing of all, Mr. Conniption, she's an incredible human being. The one, the only, Mercedes Bartley!
Ooh. Oh, you got your clear can again, huh?
Oh, no, that was a link.
Oh, clear link this time. All right.
Clear link. Speaking of clearly, we can all see Mercedes Bartley right there clearly. How's it going, Mercedes?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Plugging along.
Plugging up. I'm absolutely loving my day. I'm looking at my dog trying to jump out the house because he's got to go pee. But I'm doing a podcast. I can't help it. You're just going to have to pee right there, bud. I'm sorry. Mercedes, hope you and your what you got?
Oh, I thought you were talking about my dog.
Oh, no. Yeah, your dog has to pee. Check to see if your dog has to pee, everybody at home. Enough of the jibber jabber. I want to get right into it. Guys, let's talk about it because it's the most important thing we could talk about right now. Quick fire questions, okay? We're gonna be hitting you with some rapid fire questions. Mercedes, are you prepared?
No.
Perfect. Even better.
Yes.
Let me hit him with the drum roll.
Brrr.
Hit her, Mr. Conniption.
Summer or winter?
Winter.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Yes.
What is your go-to lazy dinner?
Ooh.
Oh, that's a good one. Probably just like ordering pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
what kind of pizza, though? From where? I gotta know. Domino's, Pizza Hut, Papa John's, Double Dave's?
Well, Domino's is like right around the corner, so it's usually that. So.
What is Double Dave's?
It's an Austin thing. You wouldn't know because you're not cool. What's y'all's local restaurant pizza place?
Do you believe in demonic possessions? Courtesy of Dean Jones.
Of course, it's courtesy of him.
Good pizza from Chicago. Other quick fire questions, guys, drop them in the chat, and then we're going to hop right into the discussion. Here's a good quick fire question for you, Mercedes. When is it okay to get someone a gift that's more than $20?
Always.
Perfect. Thanks. That's all I needed to know. See, Arlo, you're a cheap bastard. Arlo,
What
you got
did
more
I
questions?
do?
I'm joking. Come on, you got more questions?
What is the stupidest dare you've ever agreed to?
Oh God.
Oh.
Okay, so I was dared one time that I could not drink all of this bottle of vodka that we had, and just completely trashed by the end of it. But yeah, that was the stupidest dare. Like, yeah, I mean, it was always that kind of stuff. Like, anytime someone like tells me I can't do something, it's a toxic trait. I have to do it. Like, there's like no around it. Like,
Okay,
that's
got it.
me.
Yeah, somebody tell you can't do something, you're gonna do it. Damn it.
Oh man, especially with dares and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a toxic trait. I know.
Yeah, that's not Mr. Conniption. What's
It's
yours?
not
Now
good.
I'm curious. What's yours, Mr. Conniption?
Stupidest. I don't know. That's a tough one. I've got a lot of. Still, give me a second. Come back to me. What's yours?
I've never done anything dumb in my whole life.
I find that incredibly difficult to believe.
I will say this: somebody says I am Maverick. Marrying me was the biggest.
Oh, that was a dare.
That's what I was gonna say. What a great dare. Have you guys? How long have you? And if you don't mind me asking, how long have you and Mr. Maverick been daring each other?
You mean like married? 11 years.
Yeah, 11 years. Oh, cool. Well, perfect.
We were like 20 whenever we got married, or 20. Yeah, we were 20.
Oh, awesome. So you got married when you were too young to know better, and then now you're
Yep.
old enough to realize, like, wow, we did it. Like, look at us. Because you went through the hard stuff, you know? The hard stuff is his first 7 years or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Supposedly.
it's true.
Conniption, how long have you been married?
I'm sorry.
How long have you been married?
6 years.
6 years. Awesome. Anybody else out there married? Share it right now in chat. I want to hear about your love life. Tell me things.
Well, you have like one of the best love life stories. You guys have been married for a long time.
My love life story is none of their business, Mercedes Bartley. But what is their business is how did you, of all people, you are such a center point to this community, and you have been for such a long time. Lots of RP happens off of you as a character. Lots of RP happens off of you as a role player behind the scenes. You take care of people. You go out of your way to like massage situations to where people are getting the best out of it. You spend a lot of your time on behind the scenes, making sure that people's days of RP are filled with like fun and ease rather than a lot of problems. How did you end up finding yourself in this position? Where does your RP story start?
About 3.5 years ago when Harper started streaming. Like, we've known Harper since I've known Harper since I was like 18. So,
Oh, so
long
you know
time.
Harper in real life. You have known
Yes,
Harper since you were an 18-year-old kid.
Yes.
That's interesting. Did anybody know that?
I knew you guys knew each other closely. I didn't know that long though. Wow.
Yep. So, I've known him for a very long time. So, whenever he started streaming, to be honest, we didn't know that it was him at first. So, and then once we did, like, it just kind of like snowballed from there. And then finally, AJ talked me into doing it, and with like Rufus's help and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of how it happened.
AJ is Maverick. He's a streamer himself. He was already heavy into streaming, was buddies with Rufus, and was like, dude, Merc, you would really love this. This seems like something you'd be really great at. Had you had a lot of video game experience before you got into RP, or was it just something you were kind of like passively interested in?
I was always like a big Destiny player.
Gotcha,
And then we went to PUBG after that, but that's about it. Like, I've never been like one that like just played like a ton of games. I was more of like the board game kind of person.
Do you think you liked the? Oh, okay. So this one actually fits the next question. Is you guys were more board game? You were more of a board game person, which to me kind of means you liked the group of it, right? Like the hanging out with your
Right. Oh
friends.
yeah.
And Destiny's less about competing against other people, which can get really aggravating, and it doesn't have a good feedback loop. Whereas something like Destiny is just like you're just kind of out there beating the same thing over and over. Is that kind of what you were doing? So you're just kind of hanging out with people, which is the most fun. Penny's kind of the same way.
It's
Yeah.
cooperative,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. And so that kind of led you into role play. And so you were kind of brand new to this kind of thing. Was it a daunting task at first where you're like, hell no, I'm not doing that? What are you
Oh,
talking
I
about?
I always said that I was never going to. So
Oh,
um
okay. You were
yeah.
adamant about not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why is
And
that, you
so
think?
I don't know. Like I don't know. I just didn't uh I was doing a bunch of bursts at the time too, like every month. So like
You know, when you're
that was just
birthing humans, let's
yeah.
talk about that real quick, just so everybody knows what you do for a living, because I find this fascinating. You are a birther, right? So can you explain to me what that entails of as a human being?
Okay, so I am a birth doula, a postpartum doula, a breastfeeding counselor, and a um and then like midwifery assistant is like the title technically of what I do. So like
I
but
like the
all
doula.
like yeah, the doula part it's more like supporting mothers
Mhm.
and all that kind of stuff, and then sometimes you're having to birth babies because they come too quickly that way too, but usually uh the s- the doula stuff, like it's a lot of like prenatal care and postpartum care, um and more centered around the mom than the baby per se.
Right. So you're taking care of the human being who's going through this. Regardless if it's good, it is a traumatic event for the body. And there's a lot to process there emotionally. There's a lot to process there physically. And you're there to kind of talk to them and kind of dialogue them through this situation and be there for any time. From what I've told, like when you're doing this, sometimes you can't leave for months, an hour and a half away from your house because you got to be there close enough to be there for that human being, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like I had not to get too sad or anything, but my great grandma was like on her deathbed, and I got a call during a birth that I needed to get up there, and the birth was my longest birth I ever had. Like I think it was like 39, 40 hour. I don't know. It was a long time of being awake. And my grandpa called me. He's like, Tia, she's not gonna make it much longer. You really need to get up here. Well, she was 2.5 hours away. I was in the middle of a birth, and I just cried. Like I just went in the hallway and cried in the middle of like this mom needing me, the most painful part of her life, and I couldn't do anything. So
Right.
it does take like a lot of time and stuff. And I did end up making it there to see my great grandma before she passed, but like it was
That's great. I love it. I
right,
love it. I
right.
love it.
Yeah.
we
Also, just so
we
go
have
ahead.
we have an urgent question here. I'm supposed to ask you about a baby in your car.
Oh God.
Wait, you gave birth to a baby, or someone gave birth to a
Yeah,
baby in
yeah,
your
yeah,
car?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Oh
It
in
wow.
your
happened.
car.
I was I think it was like I don't know 11, 12 weeks pregnant with our youngest.
And you're
So
pregnant at the same
yeah,
time?
yeah.
Oh my god.
And like it was an overnight birth. It went really fast, but then I ended up staying for a very long time just because it went so quickly. Um, and so I was actually out to eat with some other birth workers, and we were all talking, and I was like, "Oh, I just got this text. I won't tell you what it said, but like, and
Real,
like we're all laughing, and we're just
real quick. Is there a phrase that you guys have, like birth alert or something like that? Anything? Birth
uh,
alert, ladies! Birth alert!
no, it was like, okay, this was a first time mom, and it was her due date, and
Oh wow.
and babies do not come on their due dates. I think it's like 5% of births actually happen on their due dates.
Oh,
It's
that's
a guesstimate. So,
crazy number, right? Everybody
right.
write that down. That's nuts.
Yeah,
Facts.
yeah, yeah. It's just
Doctors
a
are not good weathermen. Got it.
right, exactly.
But they'll still get
Babies come
paid.
when they're ready, and that's just the thing. So like she was talking about like how she felt like she was having contractions and everything. I went and checked on her. did it, and then ended up coming back home because I was like, "You're not ready." And then she texts me again while I'm out to eat, uh,
Contractions.
and yeah, and like I was telling them what they were saying. They're like, "Oh yeah, you'll probably get called in the morning." I was like, "That's what I'm thinking." I'm like, "I'm gonna go home and sleep and probably get called in about 5 a.m. ish, something like that." I
Kind of
get
getting
in the
ready.
car and I'm like heading to my house. Like I'm like a block away from the Mexican restaurant I had just left. And then she calls me and she's like, "Tia, I need you now." And like she's like going like growling as she's saying it. And like I'm like, "Wait, what?" And then her fiance takes the phone and he's like, "There's something, you know,
There's something
happening."
Something's
coming
not
out
right
of her.
here.
That's exactly what
Something.
he's like. "There's something hanging out of her," and like I'm like, "Oh my god!" So I'm like getting there, and I
Ugh.
get there. I'm like, "You're having the baby here right now, or we have to leave right now." And
Oh
she was
wow.
like, she's like, I want to try to get to the hospital." I was like, "Okay." And so then
Yeah.
like we're getting ready to leave, and she's like, I can't sit in that car." And I was like, "Just get in my car." And like, so we all get, and so like she only lives like 5 minutes away from the hospital that she was planning on having the birth at. And uh, they called the nurses so that they knew that we, I mean, we knew that I called, and so that they knew that we were on our way. Um, but like as we're like pulling into the hospital, I'm having to slam on the brakes because she's like, "He's coming now." And so like, yeah, so she had the baby in the car right there.
Oh, it was a baby. It was a baby.
Mhm.
Okay, we're just
Oh
making
yeah,
sure. 'Cause
yeah, yeah,
this whole time I didn't know what it was. He's like, "There's something back there."
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't. You
yeah.
gotta
Was
get
So
here quick, Tina.
yeah, so
there's
there was
something.
like, it was really it was awesome, like, it was great. But then
Okay, so you birthed this thing in the back of the car, right?
mhm,
The baby came out
mhm,
into your hands in the car,
mhm,
and
mhm.
did you in that moment? You felt prepared? Were you like, like you didn't have time to think? You were just like, cool. Everything instinct took over, and you're like, we got this.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just, I mean, birth is natural. Women have been doing it for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, like,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need anyone to catch your baby. Your baby, your body knows what it's doing. I can talk about this all day though.
I
You
mean,
know what?
well, good, because I mean, thanks so much for sharing. Because I think none of us realized that much went into that, right? So I'm just very curious. As soon as I heard about it, I was like, my mom was a nurse, and I didn't even know this was a thing, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
how do you think that connection to humans? Because this just says a lot to you. Because you're not putting up with that you're not putting up with birth stuff if you don't care about humans. You know what I mean? Babies, the person who's giving it. How do you think? How do you feel like that like goes into your RP? Because you're definitely that kind of human in this world that we all created stuff in, right? You're a very supportive and kind human. You're going out of your way to birth people in the server in their cars. Um, uh, no, nobody.
N- n-
You're birthing children in cars in the video game. No, how do you feel like this kind of connects, to you? What does it say about you as a person? I guess, gaming wise, when you're in there.
I don't really, I don't know. I don't connect the two, I guess. Like I've never thought about it like that.
Here, let me ask
Wow.
you in a different way. I'm drowning here, Mr. Conniption. Help me. How about this? When you,
Just think it really hard. I got you.
yeah, yeah, I was thinking about it real hard. When you and you were getting into RP.
When you were getting into RP,
Okay, thanks for backing me up here, Arlo. You're getting into RP. When you were first coming in, how were you approaching it? Were you like, this is kind of a joke, and you just kind of got it? Did you look at it from like, oh, I got to hang out with my friends kind of POV?
No, it was more of like, uh I'll do this because I promised I would, and I would give it a shot, and then it just kind of like slowly grew at that point. So
Kind of morphed into your like daily grind.
essentially, yes.
So as far as Mercedes Tibbs, was Mercedes Tibbs, as far as Mercedes Bartley goes, where did she come from? How did she evolve as a character? Can you tell me that?
Yeah. So actually, Rufus gave the idea of Mercedes Tibbs. He said that I could come in as Rufus's ex-wife. So that's essentially what I did. I came in like talking about how I needed, Roof to sign the divorce papers because he didn't sign them, and then Merc and Roof tried to work it out, and then they didn't, and then they finally got divorced not too long ago. So, but like the original idea actually came from Rufus Pile Driver.
Pile Driver Gaming.
Speaking of Rufus,
mhm.
he's your last topic of discussion. He says, and to bust Roof's balls.
Oh yeah. So as far as Mercedes goes from there, like when next chapter started, because obviously Mercedes in a change. She kind of things are changing for her right now. Where did Mercedes start when next chapter opened, and then how is she kind of morphed to where she is right now? For you.
Like the Mercedes character, we left. You know more than anyone. Uh, we left Aurora like as like refugees almost. Like we fled the city with just like the bags on our backs. We made sure that we like wore the same clothes there whenever we transitioned over and that kind of stuff,
That's awesome.
and like the same bags, everything. Like we tried to go and make sure that everything was about the same or close to the same, and then um, but the but like so we were starting over from ground zero, and Cade and I had talked, and we didn't know if we were going to like bring Umbra. Like we didn't know. We were like, we're kind of like we were really worn down with the gang stuff that we had dealt with for
Right.
months, and so we didn't know what we were gonna do. And then finally, I was like, I really think it's time that we do bring Umbra back. It never got its chance, really, uh, and so we did, and it's been it was great. And then like uh, whenever Merc's fiance died and all this other stuff came out with that, like I had already been talking to Heron, who is Rufus's son, by the way. Heron Brown is Rufus's son in game. He he I had already been talking to him and told him like within 6 months ish he would be taking over Umbra. Um, and then whenever all this other stuff happened, I decided to move the timetable up and kind of like sprung it on Heron too. Heron was not happy, but but like so whenever Merc went from zero to nothing to making to being like a multi millionaire, and then and running an org, and then now she's starting a corporation, a legit corporation. She just got her record cleared and all this other stuff. So she's trying to like start over once again. Like it's like another starting over point. So
Right. Let's talk about how you're creating, because you've kind of broken down this new thing for me, this security corp or whatever you're doing. A lot of what you do, Mercedes, as a role player, I've noticed, and this is one of my favorite things about role players, is when they're creating role play for everyone else to be involved in, and not in a, oh, I'm going to write this huge story and I'm going to force my RP onto everybody and make them do what I want to do. And if they don't, I'm going to complain. You do it from a very organic way where you're like, how can I create a thing that's fitting my ideas as a character, what I need, but also can fit a lot of other people into it RP wise, so we can all have a shared role play experience. Would you say that that's kind of the way you're viewing your new business?
absolutely, like I the whole idea came about like because from admin standpoint, there's a lot of things that I have to do in server that don't really make sense with a lot of the role play I was doing. And so I ran this idea, like Arlo was like really big help inspiration wise, and Cade, and then Harper. So those three were the ones that I talked to about this, and came up with like all the information, like all the ideas and stuff. But like basically it's a corporation type standpoint, like because we already had all these businesses. Like Kate had a business, Sky and myself, we all had a business in server. So we're making them. They've always been legit, so they're just basically being transferred over to a corporation, and then we're and then I was like, but there's other things that could be done in city that would not only help us out, but would help out the entire city as a whole,
Right.
and people that like you can only have one job in city at a time. Like you can't like switch jobs back and forth. Um, so we came up with we've always had like Umbra always had like the security idea. Um, and so I kind of like took that, and what we're going to do is hire off-duty police officers to do security for different businesses, and it's not just people that play businesses but like NPC businesses like the jewelry store,
Perfect.
you know,
Perfect.
like
Perfect. Perfect.
stuff that like where it gets hit a lot during prime time. A jewelry store. How awesome would it be that there's a an armed security guard
Yes.
there, and now the
Yeah.
criminals they can't just smash and dash. They now have someone to either shoot out with or take hostage,
A role play
or
with.
yeah,
Create a
yeah,
role play experience with,
exactly,
not just walk in and have hopefully have a conversation with whatever NPCs
exactly.
are in there. Because if you're not, you're missing out. But
Smash and
now they'll have
grab.
yeah, no, no, no. Now you'll have a reason to be in there role playing with some security guard, right? And that's a great idea. I want to sign up as just a regular guy for this security thing because, again, it just creates RP. And
Oh yeah,
if you're in there working security with another person and you don't get hit that night, cool. You got to relationship build with that security guard in there while you role played the perimeter and checked out the building. And there's just a ton of stuff to do there, right there at that one little place, right? And you guys are going to create a lot of RP off that. I love that idea. That's a good idea. What do you guys think of that idea in chat? You tell them. You scream them, baby. You scream it out there. You tell us. Go ahead, Merc.
yeah. And then like even like at the hospital gets really crazy. There's a lot of criminals going in and out. Having an armed guard or two, they're patrolling and going through all the rooms and everything else,
Yeah.
off duty police officers, whatever. That is just like amazing for it'll also help out the police that are on duty and the hospital staff. Plus it will help like it adds more RP for the criminals if there isn't any hospital staff at the time, or regular people that get brought into the hospital. You know, it
Exactly.
just kind of
Exactly.
helps out everything. So
Smart idea.
but and then of course like regular people that have businesses can hire them too, but uh we have so much money, like, so we don't mind to fund the police officers who don't make a whole bunch, you know, as like off-duty security guards.
Because again, if you're just sitting on that money, it's fake money, right? It's
Right,
fake.
right,
It's
it's
fake
not
money.
doing any
So
good for us.
exactly, exactly. So if you're a role player out there and you're sitting on top of this money and you're like, whatever, I'll buy something later on. I got millions of dollars because I've been doing all this stuff. Great. Use that as money to fuel your RP. Hire gangs. Go up to one of the biker guys and be like, hey, I want to rob a bank tonight, but I'd like to use 3 of your guys. And then leave them high and dry, right? And then be like, and then create more RP for yourself. It's like, look at money as a way to fuel RP. Money should just be if I say 10,000, like money shouldn't be like I mean, it is a tangible thing in the city, right? It can be important for your character, but hopefully you're looking at it in a way of like, how can I use this money to fuel more RP? And if you're sharing the RP, even better. What are some ways, Arlo, that your police can, since you're here and you're the chief of police, what are some ways police can take advantage of this kind of thing as an off-duty cop? Because I know one big goal for you guys is like, hey, have more fun off-duty.
Well, I mean, I think it's going to open up. It's going to be a good change of pace for whoever wants to get involved with it. A lot less chasing, a little more dialogue than they're probably used to. A lot of times, people will run and you don't get the dialogue, so this will give a chance for interaction and that dialogue that a lot of people are looking for.
And it'll be that thing. So let's just take the smash and grab jewelry store, right? They go in, they have a scene with the security guard. For whatever reason, the security guard decides they're not going to fight. They're just going to, put their hands behind their back. They get a role play a whole scene with them, and then when they leave, it's not just a chase away from the cops. Now they got to deal with an actual person who was there and saw their name or like heard voices, maybe heard names, things like that. So now the detectives can actually put together a case, which just creates longer RP for everybody. We're stretching it out, which is the whole point, right? To get the most out of every little situation you can in there. And that's how you can really see who's a pro's pro, is the people who are like going out of their way to milk every little situation they can. Speaking of which, let's move the conversation over now. And we're going to open it up to questions in the chat here in a second. But first, I would love to kind of brainstorm with everybody, and especially you guys at home, because you guys are a big part of the conversation. You may not be in here right now with me and Mr. Arlo and Merc here, but you are at home. So share your opinion. Be part of the conversation, right? Big thing today, welcoming new role players by generating shared RP. Let's talk about what is shared RP. Mr. Knipshin, Merc, you want to jam on this for a second? What's shared RP in your eyes? And let's all just kind of talk about it.
Merc, go ahead. I know what I'm going to say, but I was going to say ladies first. Go ahead.
No, well, like anything, I don't know, like RP should never be like not shared. Like, it should always involve other people in some way or another. Like, because if not, then what are you doing? Are you just role playing with yourself? Like, that's not fun. The more people that you can interact with and share a scene with and give people their time to shine, the better it'll be. Like, I mean, it just makes better role play. Like, I mean, the whole
Right.
thing is better. Like, whenever it's all always me, we're gonna do it my way and only my way, it becomes toxic, and it becomes like really hard to. I mean, it wears people down, like people don't want to role play with those kind of people. They don't want to fly into a city where you're being forced to role play one way and nothing's being shared, because they don't want to take the time to actually get to know you or understand your characters and understand your way of doing things, because it's not gonna it's always not gonna be just it's not about you. It's
Right.
about the team. We're all in this together, like just one big team.
Yes.
And that's the thing I think a lot of people forget, is that the criminals, the cops, the general population, everybody's together. Like, I mean, if we're not all on the same team, then what are we doing here?
100%. Well said.
We're not competing with one another. It's not about wins and losses. It's about telling a story. And I don't know, I tell a lot of people, if you want to play GTA Online and you want to go 100% gang, there you go play GTA Online. But the dialogue and the stories is what separates RP from just competitive gaming.
Exactly. And going in there and ensuring that everybody has an intent while they're out there, then everything seems to run a lot smoother. I think a big reason why there is so much of this culture in GTA roleplay, specifically about cops and robbers and you controlling me, or just this big fight back and forth, is because these people aren't having discussions. They're not part of a bigger dialogue where it's like, how can we not have to, every single time I pull over somebody, it be an argument? Why can't we figure this out, right? But this is it. This is what we're doing. This is why we're in rooms like this discussing it. And this is why I'm so grateful that you two are here and you guys are in here. Let's bring Dean's thing in here. I would say it's, well, let's read Rufus' tips real quick. We're all telling a story together, 100%. And if you're not approaching it like that, then you're probably not getting the most out of it as you could, right? Let's read Dean's here. I would say it's getting numerous people involved in one scene, not just you and somebody else. Find ways to get the community involved. Exactly, right? We're talking about shared RP experience and ways that we can create it. What are some ways, because now that we know, having a good handle on what is shared role play, what are some ways that we can make it easier to do that with people? Like, one way I would say is, how do you approach people with your RP? What is your intent? Is your intent, when you were at work all day thinking about, when I get home, I'm taking somebody hostage, don't care who it is, I got to do this thing? If you're thinking of things in that way, you're not thinking clearly of like, who do I want to take hostage? How is this going to affect their role play? If you can approach people in a positive manner, most people would probably, be okay with being taken hostage. Or shoot them a message prior to, maybe if you need to. Hey, I'd like to do this scene. Are you comfortable with this? And they'd be like, sure. I mean, don't write the whole thing, but hitting up somebody to inform them, hey, I'd like to do this kind of RP with you. I think you're great. I'd love to whatever, is a totally, to me at least, an acceptable way, because we should be communicating these things about our RP, because it is such a shared experience. We are all out here together. There's no rule that says you're not allowed to talk about RP outside of the RP realm. Of course, we want everything inside that world to feel and be like that world. But to get it that way, we all need to have open discussions about this kind of stuff, so we can live in the kind of world that we're all envisioning in our head, and we can create these kind of long-term storylines with our shared RP experience, right? And doing that by generating shared RP. Um, how do we match? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say we got another one from Cade. He says RP should be a hot potato. You pass from one person to another.
Exactly. A give and take. If you're in a scene and you're just like taking over the scene, and and people get hyped, and you can say, well, oh, I get really into it. Okay, that's great. The tip for that is, before you go into it, if you know you do this, go in with intent, take notes, write things down, say, hey, I need to slow this down. I want to get more out of this scene tonight. I want to get how much. Yes, everybody's got notes. Merc's at home scribbling notes together. No, have intent to have a shared RP experience like that, right? Dean says, last night, for instance, calls were slow for PD, so I messaged Lexi to see if she wanted to kidnap me on her Halloween character, who's a serial killer, and got all the cops involved for a couple hours of roleplay. I had bad dreams about that scene. It was so good, right? And you guys didn't need to plan the whole thing out. You had one detail, which is, hey, are you cool with this, hostage thing? She said, yeah. It happened, and then boom, everybody RP'd off of it. And everybody got positive. Nobody was power gaming, right? I'll let you explain what the scene was in a second, Mr. Conniption, if you'd like to. Nobody was power gaming. Nobody was saying, how do I take advantage of this situation so I get more money, that I get more street cred, or something like that. That, to me, is power gaming, right? That's like using things to get control over people, or to better myself in a negative way. If you're telling RP and you're trying to stretch out stories and stuff like that, communicate clearly to people. Go ahead, Mr. Conniption.
No, Mav said, write nothing structure for scenarios, but ad lib everything. So, right, that's what Rez was saying.
Exactly.
Just have your structure of where it's going to start, and then of course ad lib from there. And I think that's what I enjoy the most about RP is ad libbing and coming up with responses and stories on the fly.
And that's the preferred method, right? That's what we all want to do. And preferably that's the goal while you're out there all day, every day, is doing that. But sometimes hitting people up and stuff, it needs to happen. Merc, what would you say to that?
I agree. Absolutely.
And again, there's a fine line of writing it out and being like, and then we'll contact Arlo, and then we'll call this, and then we'll do that, and then we'll do all these things. If you find yourself in that kind of thing, hold the boat. What is the phrase? Hold your horses.
Hold the boat.
Hold the boat. I'm staying on land. Hold the boat. Yeah. You shut up. Dang it. Hit him with the smoke. Is there a smoke button? Hang on 1 second for the smoke. Here we go.
Smoke button.
Perfect. So Merc, how do you I told you I wouldn't put you on the spot like this, but it's just gonna happen this way. How do you think what
hot button?
Even better. How do you personally welcome new role players? Like, and I don't just mean new role players, I mean new people to the city. They could be veterans or whatever, but just new role players to the city, or brand new role players.
In server?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, running the ponds was always an easy way to do that. Like, because you always, whenever you meet someone new, I always am like, first meal's on me, and then it's,
And real quick, we're gonna stay in there real quick. But what does that do? What does that first meal on me mean?
just basically, just kind of welcome them into the city, and like welcoming to the very first spot. Like, you want it to be positive, and you don't know if someone's already taken them hostage or stabbed them or whatever. So like
Exactly.
trying to be like welcoming at all times, and then also like asking if they've been to like someplace yet to kind of like open that door for them to talk
You're
and be like,
world building. Yeah,
right, right,
you're
because
asking. Yeah, tell them a little bit about the world. You
You're
know.
right, because as
unlocking
soon as I
those.
ask, that usually they're like, "No, I haven't, but what does do you know what this is or where I can get this?" Like it kind of like opens that up. Whenever you're just like, "Hi, how are you?" and like you keep walking, that kind of stops everything
Right.
from happening. And then like I don't know, he's not a new role player or anything, and he's been in the city for a long time, but he just started uh his homeless character, and he came into the pond the other day, um, and he said that Merc was the only other person besides one cop that gave him some money, um, to actually stand and talk to him. Like, and I'm just like, if who knew that he was not a new person? Like I'm like, man,
Mm,
like we really need people to remember that these could be new people, that aren't, in the city forever,
right.
or, that aren't loyal here yet. And, you got to take your time to really get to know each and
And
every one.
have that shared RP experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
Uh, Mr. Conniption, you were gonna make a point.
I think I'm fortunate in the aspect that there's a lot of the new people are kind of funneled towards me because they'll call the first thing people do when they get to town is they call and they want a weapons permit. So I feel like I meet a lot of new people that way,
Perfect.
and I've taken with Arlo, like I try to play him like this prominent chief that knows his way around town, and he'll ride him around town in the squad car and show him around town, or so just showing them around and telling them where they can get a job, or
Just being supportive, world building, making them feel comfortable. And I want to stress a really big important point here, right? Arlo's a cop, so you kind of expect that from a cop, right? A cop role player. You expect it from him as a character, right? Mercedes Tibbs is a known criminal in the city, probably one of the biggest.
partly.
But she's sorry, well, in my head, I'm thinking of Ruben Rose is reporting live. Mercedes Bartlett.
Snitching Merc out once again. No, just
Yeah,
kidding.
I was doing her a favor.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love how that whole storyline paid off too. Just a lot of improv. What was I talking about before I started talking about me? All right, more me.
You expect that from
yeah,
Arlo
you
as a
would.
cop.
Okay.
Yeah,
I expect that as Arlo from a cop, right? Us as role players, we look at that. Some of us play criminals, and it's like, I'm a hard-nosed criminal. I'm the baddest mofo on the planet, baby. No one can mess with me. I outrun cops. No one ever sees me. I'm the greatest of all time. I would never talk to a new person. No, wrong. You suck. Yeah, I said it. I mean, get in there and help these new people. Be welcoming to them. Not every because you're a bad guy doesn't mean every single person you meet you got to treat like shit. That's not how bad people work. Watch a movie sometime. They don't treat everybody like crap. If you're that cool of a criminal, you're so calm and responsible, you have it in you to be putting out good energy. And if you don't, find a way to shift your character's viewpoint to somehow be nice. There's some people who play serial killers will have a whole conversation with you. That's your chance to create a kind of energy, not a, hey, I'm going to kill you at any moment energy, but just a conversation. It's way cooler to me to have a conversation with somebody. They just seem like a normal person. And then a week later, I find out they're the biggest known criminal in the city. To me, that's like, oh shit, this guy's got layers, right? That's what I'm talking about when it comes to role play. That's the kind of RP that you can be doing. Go ahead, Mr. Conniption. You were going to say something?
was I?
You made a noise with your mouth. Say it again. I'm debating
Say
whether
what
tonight,
again?
Say what again? I'm debating whether to debut Rufus Tibbs Barbecue tonight. I made a thing last night, and I was thinking about doing it, but we might wait until we have it on the
Listen,
podcast.
let's not do that. It's got to be on it. All right, it's fresh wounds, right?
Ooh. Cool. So now that we know, let's talk about welcoming new role. I know we're kind of stretching it out here and we're going long. So, Merc, how much time do you think you got left here? It's about 11 o'clock right now. So that's midnight your time, girl. No.
No.
No, it's 11 o'clock my
11.
time.
Yeah.
It's 10 your time. How am I keeping up with this?
I don't know.
I have to write a schedule out for him, everybody.
I'll just talk. Well, because you don't have me in here for my timely scheduling. Cool. Now that we have kind of a breakdown of what a new role player, ways to look out for new role players, generating shared RP for people. Welcome everybody in chat. It makes me kind of think of businesses, right? How can you, as a player, a business owner, create RP hubs for other players to come and role play off of, right? That's a great way to have shared experiences. There's a lot of business owners in town, lots of mechanics, Sharkies, Mercs. You got Milo owns a business. I heard JJ, one of the nicest humans ever, just opened a diner. I can't wait to go there and work for him and just be around his energy. He's such a good human. One person I do want to bring up is everybody knows Ginger, and if you don't, you should. I have so many stories from role players that Ginger and Merc are their first people they've ever met in the community, and they have great stories of shared RP experiences just from them helping them out with their voice and going out of their way to help them as new role players, knowing that they're new to the city and stuff like that. And this is back when it was kind of a public server, right? You weren't just getting whitelisted people. It was a lot of dealing with people's bullshit. And and having the yellow jacket, I heard Ginger just took over the yellow jacket again too, which I'm like, I mean, how badass! Like, what a person
It's
to be able to
awesome.
lean on for that, because that'll be a hub for role play, right? For people to come in, hang out, create role play, and then bounce off to other places, which to me is like a cool thing. Merc, you have a lot of experience with helping brand new role players. Again, let's talk about some of the ways you might be able to literally verbalize how, hey, is your mic all right, or something like that. Can we talk about that for a little bit?
Sure.
Feeling okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some ways we could do that?
Well, some of it's like clear your throat. Let's help.
Clear your
Or
throat.
yeah, you may need to clear your throat. Um,
You a cough drop?
yeah. Sometimes they just don't get it, and you're like, turn your voice box off and on, and then sometimes they still don't get it, and then you have to, say, I need you to go to your settings and do
Right.
it. But like, but trying to kind of instill that into people, like, from like at the very beginning, is always a
Instilling
good
the
thing.
that
Like
like
the
we're
way
gonna
to talk about it, yeah, the
right
wording.
how we're gonna verbalize what we're gonna go through. Hey, go into your brain, use your escape muscle. You know what I mean? Helping
Right,
them in that manner. That makes
right.
sense. Makes sense.
Well,
Um,
and then like, I mean, even what wasn't that you that didn't even know what we meant whenever we said there's a spider? Like
yeah,
until
I
like
had
a
no
week
idea.
ago.
Yeah, until like a week ago, and y'all have been saying it around me for almost a year.
Yeah.
I I just never, and I role play, so it's just like it's one of those
Right.
things.
Right.
It's kind of funny to me. Going back to creating hubs. This goes for police too. I see T-Rex out here. He's a big a person who creates a lot of role play for other people. Having a lot of people's in this place. Actually, this kind of kind of it's important to talk about, right? Because this is how we create shared RP experiences for other people. We go out of our way to make contact with them, verbalize things that they might need, check to see if they're okay, what's going on. A lot of people, when they first come in, may not be comfortable as a character, so they're just looking for more of a friend to kind of show them around the city. Whether you're a good guy or a bad guy, like, show them around. Take the time out of your day. What do you got to go do? Probably go stand somewhere and have a conversation with somebody, which is good. I like that RP, but take the time to bring in a new person. If it's a money issue or if it's a job or something and you're already doing the job, I went on a job the other day and the job wouldn't let them like do it like logistically or whatever. And I was like, so the government's not going to let you work, huh? Well, I'll tell you what, I'll let you sit on the back of the truck and ride with us, and I'll pay you out of my own pocket, even though I didn't have any money. Like, but he didn't care. He doesn't care. And if he says, hey, give me money, then I'll, we'll RP that out. But at the end of the day, he knew I was just trying to create a shared RP experience for all of us. What are some cool RP experiences, shared RP experiences that you can help with a new person? Ginger's known for hitting people up, asking people, hey, I heard you're a farmer or you're doing this job. Can you go and give me some of that for my business, even if she didn't need it, right? And Merc, I know you've done this too for your characters. Anybody else? People in chat, Arlo, Rez, what are some ideas for getting people some shared RP experiences? Everybody all at once.
I mean, well, I love dragging new people to go do Merc adventures. Because first of all, I feel like it completely like breaks them out of their shells and that kind of stuff too, because you're thrown into chaos almost instantly. I don't know why either. I never plan to hurt people, but somehow they always end up in the hospital or something of the sort by the end of them. So
And Merc Adventures, for those who don't know, are just kind of a pre-adventure that Merc, the character, will come up with, but it's Merc, the person behind, right? To basically like group community building exercises. There's been chases. There's been what are some other things y'all have done?
we do a lot of off-roading, boating and jet skis, scuba diving, like stuff around city. Like tonight, the Merc Adventure is going to be a new corn maze that Rick Muir put in.
You're doing that
Mm.
tonight when you get when
Yeah.
you're done with this. That's where you're going.
Well, Merc has to go because another reason why we're doing the corporate thing, backtracking, is because as an admin, I'm Gen Pop admin, and I'm in charge of like all the businesses and that kind of stuff. So I just started to where we're gonna start like interviewing the people that have business apps in city for these businesses, instead of just out of city, so that and like
Right.
and so that the best business plan gets that business essentially.
I love that idea because to me,
Yeah,
like it's kind of like the elections. This might open up a whole can of worms to discuss, but I like the idea of the community, like admins and owners and stuff, putting people in places and then still having the votes and RPing the votes out and stuff like that, but knowing that like, hey, we're putting this person in this position to help us grow as a community. Because when you're going for those positions, it's not just like like we have to like believe in you as a community to help us run stuff. Like it's a responsibility.
exactly, absolutely.
It's not just I feel like my character can win this because it's a popularity contest. I'm going for it, baby. And then now you got to deal with this shit when
Power.
your heart's not really in it. And even if it is, I honestly, and I think a lot of people, I mean, I'm looking around, would prefer it someone. I would rather know that it's going to be someone who's placed in there by ownership, because then I would actually run, because I don't want the position, but I do want to role play as somebody you have to compete against, because that to me is the money, right? That to me is the magic. I could create anybody go up there and compete against you verbally, because at the end of the day, I know I'm not going to win. So it's even easier for me that I'm not actually having to like go get votes and shit like that, even though I would, right? Because that's the RP of it. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Wait, you're saying
I was
you're
trying to
saying like
decipher it too.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. You're saying that like you would like to know
Yeah.
that like people that are campaigning are put in there by owners, and then
Yeah, placed
yeah,
by staff or community or whatever. And I understand the whole
right.
point of like, we'll vote as a community, but again, I've seen it already. It just kind of creates this toxic atmosphere of people kind of like they really don't want that character to be in charge, so they just go out of ways to be toxic about them, talking about them, bad about them or whatever. And then it just becomes this thing of ripping people down. Some people find that funny or fun. I don't think it's a good way to build community around something that's supposed to be a fun election kind of process, right? I think it's a lot of like spitting in each other's eyes just because, hey, now it's our opportunity to shit on each other because we're in election season or whatever. But our in-game elections don't have to be like our real life elections. We don't have to hate each other at the end. We can really get a lot out of it, right?
All you have to
Yeah,
do is stand
yeah.
on top of the cruiser. I'm telling you, it's the key.
That's what
But
we don't all cruisers.
yeah, but like no, like I mean we do I mean the community votes, Rick Mir actually made a script for that, but we do make them, they all need to fill out like the application for that. Like there's an application that you have to fill out, and it has to be agreed upon by the owners and admin that they could be good for it, or they are qualified to run, um and that kind
Right.
of stuff. So
Maybe
but
if they
I can totally see that. But like last night, uh we had three. There's three sheriff's deputies running for sheriff.
right.
And they came in, and some of them were like a little abrasive, and I was like, listen, but we all still can be friends. Like you all still can work together and be co-workers and respect one another, and uh still debate and still have different ideas. It doesn't mean that someone else is, yours are different, and like we ended up everybody ended up at like the pearls, and then they ended up at the uwu by the end of it. And it ended up being like really good discussions, and like it was, I don't know, it was a different type of, like, the first set of campaigns uh was in like even this third second, like this one, I feel like it's gonna be different. It's gonna be like more mature, and I like
Right.
that.
I think if we can all as a community say, hey, this is what we want out of this, and there's a big discussion around the next couple of weeks of these elections of, we're looking for positive reinforcement, we're looking for kindness when you're talking about these people or whatever. Obviously, role play how you want to role play, right? These are just things that we want out in the universe because we want to get the most out of our role play together, out of our shared experience. And if you do that from a supportive, kind thing, like you can still have an opinion as your character about people without shitting on the role player, right? Even if you're like, it's just
Exactly.
a joke, it's like you got to understand too that there's another person on the other side of that, and we're role playing. You're supposed to be supporting them in a way, and if you can't find a good way to do that as your character, work on it, right? That's it. Work on being better at that, because then we look around and right now there's 60 of us. We want it to be 120 one day, but for it to be 120, it's got to be a really strong foundational of 60 people, right? And if it's not, we'll just be too busy in-house fighting that we'll never grow. Go ahead, Kanimshin.
So
Absolutely.
I think the election this time around will be different. I think the first time it's new territory for a lot of people. I've seen it before, but it's not very common at all in role play servers. So it was probably new to a lot of people, and so emotion does get involved too. People are really passionate about it, but at the end of it, I think it's a good thing they're passionate about their role play. It's just a matter of realizing it's not personal. This is a story, and these are characters, and I don't know. I think it'll be a lot different this go around.
I think so. I think everybody's got a different POV, and I think having discussions like this is going to be able to kind of mold and change that perspective on things, and all being very open about what we do like, not necessarily just calling out things that we don't like when we see them, right? Being vocal beforehand of what we kind of want to see out of the whole thing. And especially welcoming new people, new role players by generating share RP. That's a big thing, especially elections. If the first time they walk in the door and they hear, Joe Schmo, I'm going to pick somebody, Woogie Gaming, sitting there just talking mad shit about Rufus Tibbs. And it's in character, but it's so good that this guy's like, wow, he seems like he really has a problem with this other guy. That's their only opinion of
He
Rufus
really
Tibbs.
hates me.
Yeah. And it's like, man, you're causing a lot of drama for no reason, in-game negative drama, which we don't want, right? So I think it's been enough time. It's 10:12. We want to make sure that Mercedes has enough time to get out there and just do a Merc adventure, which I'm kind of debating what character I want to go have my Merc adventure with.
I'm going.
Are you going?
I don't know. I'm gonna try.
I'm gonna try to go.
It'll
Um,
be at midnight.
oh, perfect.
I'm
Ooh,
gonna
so
try midnight, so like 45 minutes from now.
45 minutes from now. So let's open the floor for questions for 15 minutes. Let's get them out of here so they have a nice little evening left to kind of do their thing. We've talked this topic to death, welcoming new role players. We figured out what generating shared RP is, how to welcome new role players, why it's important to do that, how it helps the community grow, how it helps us build better role players all around us, because that's really what you're doing. If someone new walks in and you scream and yell and take them hostage and treat them like shit, you're creating another person who the next time they meet someone new are going to scream and yell and treat them like shit, right? And that's your fault, right? I'm looking at you. It's your fault. It's your job and your responsibility to go out there and take care of the people around you, so we can all look around one day and be like, holy crap, I never even think about issues anymore. This is just a great place to role play. Like, oh man, who would have guessed it, right? And I'm looking at you.
Or, you take someone hostage and they become like this crazy serial killer that runs you out of town eventually.
That
Just saying.
happens. That
It
happens.
happens.
If you role play it correctly, you can get a lot out of it, right? I definitely in that moment looked at it like an opportunity to show off my character. I was like, perfect. I gotta show off my character in front of all these people. That's what I'm here for, right? I get to be me in this moment, and it led to pretty much my entire character's arc is built around like one specific moment where I got taken hostage. Uh, so kind of a fun thing. Let's open it up to questions now that we have welcoming new role players by generating shared RP. Let's ask questions to Merc. Let's create some dialogue in here. What kind of questions do you have, role play wise, what's on y'all's mind as far as things you want to discuss or hear talked about. If you have if you want to tell Merc how awesome she is, or tell Mr. Arlo, hey, that's a great beard. I wish Rez had one so he can extend how his neck looks, because it's not as his jawline isn't as tight as
Liz, what is your obsession with your neck?
Well, because it's so goddamn big.
Well, now you're just drawing attention to it.
It's like a turtle.
Like a turtle, yeah.
You know.
Keep your shirt on.
Just so everybody knows, I was very against being on camera. You try looking at this all day.
I think you're quite handsome. Ginger says Merc knows she's awesome.
Is Ginger here?
Yeah, she's here.
Ginger snaps game and Merc knows she's awesome. She does. Dean Joe says, do you ever get in real life stressed about being so busy in city? Merc, that goes to you, Mrs. I'm the busiest person on the planet.
Yes.
In a word?
Yeah. Yes. Like, I'll get stressed out, but I'm usually good at either just leaving the entire scene, or uh logging out for a while and going and doing something else.
Kind of resets you.
Mm-hmm.
Tex T-Rex Gaming. By the way, man, congratulations. I'm loving your RP lately. Doing a great job up there with everybody up there. I'm loving it. I love that people are putting their intent out there and making things happen. Says, I got too many things to say about Merc. I don't have enough time. They're all great things, I think. Wooey says, did you just crack a beer open? I cracked open.
It's clear soda.
We're sponsored by Michael Bublé's drinks, and this is our see-through space drink. You can get it online right now at Let's Talk Roleplay, and you can check us out on any podcast, wherever your favorite podcast place is.
It's actually empty.
What? Shady, the Shady says, don't be afraid to create your own roleplay. You don't have to wait or only participate in someone else's RP. Yes. Literally what I did last night, no one wants to hear about my stuff, but what I did last night was I started with the intent of, I want to roam around the city and see what I fall into. And oh my God, did I fall into everything. I couldn't look around a corner without stumbling into a new story to chase. It was so funny. The RP is right there in front of you. It's not over there. It's right here, right? Between the people that we're doing it with. Deputy Gaming says, girl, bye. Who's the better...
who's the better mod, Arlo or me? That's what Deputy Dog.
Yeah, I don't know.
Brett.
Deputy says, we gonna be besties. Speaking of besties, I do have a shirt that says best friends.
Is that why I was singing that earlier?
I think so, yeah.
All right, anyway.
People want to tell you about your best friend. Wee Woo Gaming says, because he doesn't have a character named Rhett. T-Rex says, I want some live PD coming back. Definitely some live PD coming back. Just so you guys know, since we have Merc here, Merc actually hit me up with the idea of that show. She said, hey, I have an idea. If you're interested, we hopped into a room together. We brainstormed together. Matney was there. I think Arlo had his voice in on it. A couple other people may have poked their head in. I asked people throughout the community what their thoughts, what we could get out of it. So a lot of that was from Merc. Merc, what was your kind of a purpose for the live PD thing? What were you thinking?
Well, the live PD thing came about, I don't know who I was talking with, but somehow to kind of showcase the server in different ways. Right. Because a lot of people, will just do songs with just a little bit clips in the here and there. And I was like, let's do something that actually shows the roleplay, like the actual
Right.
little pieces and bits, like little commercials almost.
Yeah,
So that's kind of where it kind of came from. I'm like, we could get the cops in on some and the criminals in on some, and then showcase some of the businesses and the extracurricular activities, kind of showcase the city in different snapshots, but commercials.
Right. And so what we ended up doing with the live PD thing was keeping the focus on what are we trying to do here, and it's kind of showcase our RP. And if we're going with the cops, showcasing them from a realism point of view, because there's different ways to go about it. I could have gone in there and edited, a big wacky zoom in on their faces, make funny noises. I could have done all that stuff, right? But that wouldn't have shown anybody that was coming to see next chapter anything other than, oh, wow, this guy can edit and big, big stupid goofies. I would much rather people, the first thing they see of next chapter is, oh wow, there's some really deep role play happening right here. This isn't just surface level shit. Like that's like a detective and he's like actually investigating things. You get to see a character be a rookie and see what it's like to go through and become something else, right? I have 10 episodes edited and ready to go up for Live PD T-Rex, so I can upload them anytime you're ready. I just haven't figured out how I want to release them yet. So again, a big goal of that was to showcase everyone here's RP right at the start. So we got to see really good criminals and things like that. We're also working on commercials and things for next chapter. So if you guys have ideas and stuff, pitch them. That's what we're here for, baby.
Mav says Walter will do the show.
I'd love. I walked in once. There's a scene where I walked into Anita, and he's talking to Anita, and I instantly was like, "Oh man, I just want to walk out of this room and follow that guy for the rest of the night." Like I couldn't. All I wanted to do was that. So I definitely want to hook up with him. I'm Walter. My first time ever seeing Walter was him.
Is that Walter?
Yeah, it's Walter, right? I'm Walter. Isn't it?
It was pretty
Something like that.
convincing.
He does a better job.
A little more winded. A little more winded.
I'm Walter. No, that's too much. Everybody try a Walter voice at home. In your house, I want you to try it. Merc, go ahead. On 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Nope.
Oh, not even a little?
No, he'll start saying that stuff like with our kids and stuff, and it's like they just love it whenever Walter pops out and talks to them all the time.
Okay, I got a good question because this goes out, but we're going to catch up to y'all's chat in a second. Real quick, you guys at home, we're all married or in relationships or have jobs out in the world. When you interact with people, do you find yourself using your voices sometimes? Because I know my family loves it. Like they'll just call me Chonky. Like they don't even, I don't register as dad anymore.
I do it. I've caught myself doing it at work only because there's like 6 people at my job that watch. So they'll be asking me questions about Arlo, and I catch myself speaking in character sometimes.
Awkward. Well, let me tell you, that's gotta be awkward. I know I was doing Chonky's voice at improv practice the other day, just like conversationally, like reacting, kind of like saying something, and my buddy was like, "Was that like a baby or something?" I was like, "No." I'm like, "I'm not even gonna go into it. No, it's a character. Don't worry about it. Don't worry." What about you guys? Is Maverick? Are you doing that voice? Is Maverick doing that voice around the house, or Ahmed's voice maybe?
He said, "I've answered phones at work as Ahmed."
Nice. D Jones says it's great because it shows to people that majority of the cops role play stems from the criminals. Exactly. And one big thing that I noticed was most of the criminals weren't, when they got to the cops, they weren't giving y'all much RP. And I mean, that's not all criminals. So if you're a criminal out there going, "That's not true, I do it," well then good, that's you. But the majority of the people I ran into in those series, I couldn't get any of the criminals to actually role play, right? I mean, they're role playing in their own way, they're running or whatever, but I couldn't get any. Even when I got them in jail, there was no fear that they were in jail. It was just like a conversation. It was like, "Oh, whatever, I'm in jail." So to me, I couldn't sell the realism because you're not even acting like you're in jail right now, right? So it really opened my eyes to like, oh wow, we need to have a bigger discussion about there's an opportunity there that you're missing completely because you're in jail. It's your opportunity to role play that you're in jail, right? And a lot of people were missing that. So that's a really good point that you bring up. T-Rex says, "I'm ready for live." Oh, wait, sorry. Plus, we're weaving resin to whatever. It's fun as in real life cop to share knowledge with other cops who aren't in real life. You think then you link up with in real life cops like Dean, and it's a blast because we can share experiences that some wouldn't understand, and it enhances the RP. Great point. Using real life things to enhance your RP. That's why I asked you that question, Merc, earlier of like, how much do you think dealing with humans and taking them, basically going to a human and be like, "Give me all your problems, I got you," right? You do that every day in here too, right? To
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Zane comes out at work.
Oh my gosh, I just want to say Zane is maybe one of my favorite. Like, I know he's one of my favorites. He might be my favorite character right now. Like, he is so freaking funny.
Mm-hmm.
We were at the Uwu Cafe, and I know Friday he's coming, and so are a couple other role players for a little bit, like during prime time. We're gonna have Zane and I won't say who else, but like we he is so funny. Like he was like, "Yeah, I'll go work at the Uwu." So it was like 2 a.m. the other day, like in city, and we were here. There was like probably, I don't know, 10, 15 people in server, and like people started showing up to get food, and like he was like literally like mispronouncing everything and like just going with it, not knowing because it's a Japanese, like it's a lot of Japanese food. So
Right.
like he he's not paying any attention. He's just, he's just saying what he wants. It's like a, what is he, like a 20-year-old kid or something? It was so funny.
And he's getting the most out of that moment,
Oh
right?
my
Like
gosh, it was amazing.
he's playing the scene for what it is. He's not looking at it like you said he was like making stuff, right? Or he was buying stuff.
No, he was a cashier, so he was literally yelling, and I was like, I don't know what to
Oh wow.
charge because it was
Funny.
also like one of the first days Merc started trying to help Sky with the Uwu. I was
Right.
like, I don't know what to charge, and he's like, don't worry, I got that. Like he just started charging people whatever he decided. It just really funny and like just easy, and like he would yell it back to the line cooks who also didn't know what the crap they were doing, and
Yes.
they were laughing so hard. We were all laughing, but like, they were trying to figure it out and trying to make this stuff as it was going, and
I love it.
it was great
And
role play.
And that's the scene that you're in right there, right? You're in the scene where you're
Right.
the cashier, so it's like play it up, have fun with it, get into it, like enjoy that moment for what it is. Because you're never gonna go be a cashier in real life unless you are, right? So it's just your one moment to really soak it up and get the most. And that dude's great at that kind of stuff. I've known him before he even. My favorite thing about him, and this is a lot of people in the city, is he didn't even have a computer that he could game on a couple of months ago, and he got it because he watched this community, was so inspired to come and play that he is now in here. And we did a live PD on episode on him, and I didn't even know who he was until afterwards. He was messaging me on Facebook, and I was like, how is like what? I'm like, wait, you're the guy in here with me? And he's like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't even realize it, but now he's one of the best role players in the whole city, and it all just comes from a positive, supportive of place. I know Arlo speaks very highly of him.
Zane, I still want my cheesecake, damn it.
Oh my gosh. He also works at the pond, but he literally only sells slushies. Like you can ask for anything and he'll just give you slushies. It is so funny. Like Zane is like Merc's cashier basically. Like, so she's gonna try to use him for both the pond and the Uwu, depending on like what needs to be opened on what days. Because it is so funny. Him and Bobby, they're both like just like these young kids characters, and they're cousins, and it's just really funny.
Now,
Like,
okay, quick question. Now that could easily, because we're about to end it here, guys, that can easily turn into or people can easily approach that type of character, early 20s, real annoying, talks too much, goes way overboard with it. But these guys are finding a nice, happy medium, right?
oh yeah, yeah, and like it's really funny because like Bobby is also Dean Jones, so who's Zane's, like Bobby is Zane's cousin, but Dean Jones can't stand Zane, and Zane can't stand Dean,
Perfect.
and but yet Brock and Dean are best friends, like in server.
It's
So
perfect.
A little too
yeah, so
close.
so they're able to like feed off of each other and help each other in those ways, and it's a lot of really, really, really good role play.
Shared
Um,
RP. Yeah.
yeah, because like Zane locked Dean at the pond one day in the kitchen. Said, "Hey, you want to see uh how the BLTs are made?" And then he ended up completely just locking him in there. And like Arlo and Merc were out talking, and like I'm getting a phone call, and I'm laughing so hard from the phone call about what was going on at the pond while I wasn't there. And it was like I get there, and like Dean's like all like flabbergasted and not paying any attention, and then here's Zane. He's fine. He's just in the kitchen. Nothing's wrong with him. He just wanted to see how it was made. So,
Right.
it's really good RP.
Dean freaked out too because Zane asked Arlo if he wanted to see how it's made, and Arlo walked in the kitchen, and Dean's like, "No, no, no, don't go in there."
Well, that's a big thing. Reactions and stuff. That's the kind of stuff I want to talk
Exactly.
about too.
Exactly.
Having a big reaction to things that goes along with people were talking about criminals in jail. If you're in jail and you're just real chill about it, why are you even here? Like, you can say my character is just so chill. There's one thing, but if you're kind of treating it like, man, whatever, you're not getting the most out of it. React big, get the most out of it for the people around you. And it sounds like these two are, because they have such a good relationship as role players. And again, these two don't know each other in real life. They met in the city and just started supporting each other in the police academy, just backing each other up, just being super kind, right? Because that's the kind of players that they are. And that has now turned into something where they can get so much role play out of it that the community is loving it. So think that way. Even if you're a solo role player, think of ways to be supportive of others RP, and you will become a better role player, right? And that's kind of what we're all here to do, is to have a fun, good time together and get better at what we're doing, right? Anything else before we get out of here, guys? Merc, do you have any kind of things that you want to drop? Any kind of social media? Any
No,
you want
I'm
a new
good.
album? Any album coming? Can we pimp your
I
Facebook?
mean, you could ask Matney about the country song that he's writing up right now, but that's about it.
Country
So,
roads, Merc,
Take me
take me
home.
home to a place that has a
I
fire.
belong.
Deputy Dog says, "Don't tell nobody. It's not done. It's a secret." Mr. Conniption is posting right now Mercedes Adventures. That's her live Facebook thing right now. So if you're sitting here, one of the 18 human beings that were awesome enough to hang out with us tonight, click that link. Go support Mercedes Tibbs. Come support next chapter. Mercedes Bartley. Mercedes Bartley. The character is awesome, but Mercedes Merc, the person, I'm such a huge fan of. This human being has literally inspired me to role play so much more and to believe in myself as a role player. And she's done that with countless human beings before. She has a great relationship with this community. We all are so grateful that she is here. And I couldn't have asked for a better guest tonight. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, Merc. And anything you want to say to your adoring fans out there in the community?
no, I mean, well, thank you all. Like, seriously, it's been a privilege, and I love doing it. So I love being here with everybody. So
Awesome.
I'm
Arlo,
Home away from home.
absolutely, and thanks for having me on tonight.
absolutely. Thanks for breaking it down, guys. We do this every Wednesday night at this exact time, 10 p.m. Eastern. Eventually, I'll edit things down and we'll make a podcast out of it, and we'll have it out there in the universe, and you guys can help us share it and stuff like that. But right now, I want you to be part of this discussion. So come back next week. We're going to be looking for ways, me and Arlo and Mercedes, and hopefully you, looking for ways in the Discords, on the forums, to start talking about role play in this manner. Because if we start discussing it and talking about it in this way, this is the kind of stuff that we can grow out of it. If we're always talking about toxic stuff and problems that we're having, that's all we'll end up seeing, right? So it's really important for us as a community to gather together in times like this, whether it be here or with you and your friends, to discuss role play and to create dialogue around it and what we want out of it and stuff, right? So we can look back a year from now and be real satisfied with what we got all around us. Cool. What was our topic again? It disappeared.
Oh, hold on. Snap your fingers.
Oh, bam! Snap them! Bam! Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm looking at the live streamer a couple seconds behind. So if you have a chance this week, go out of your way to be welcoming to new role players. Next Chapter RP just got an influx of great, incredibly awesome role players. I'm talking like some of the best role players I've ever met, and they're coming into the city. It's your opportunity as a role player and a person in this community to have their backs role play wise. Talk to them out in the Discords, welcome them. If you have maybe prior history with these people, and maybe there's heat with someone or something like that, today is the day to go out of your way to push that out of the way and have their backs and go out of there and support them role play wise, right? Let's build this community stronger. Let's oorah this stuff. Let's go team go it. And I think at the end of the day, we'll all be a lot happier people. Look out for welcoming new role players by generating shared RP. I'm Rez. This is Mr. Conniption. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys out there. Let's go have a Merc adventure. Go jump on the server right now. Dive into next chapter and go hook up with Merc. Merc, where are you going to be in city?
I'll tweet it out whenever we're ready. We'll probably meet at the Legion Square garage. That's usually where we meet, though, for
There you
Merc
go.
Adventures.
Perfect.
Plus, it's really, really spooky there. It's really, really cool at Legion Square right now. So definitely go inside, go and see it. Rick Muir's been doing so much with the server and the dev team. Like, I am amazed at all the cool stuff he's put in. Like, he literally, okay, so, you know, do what I say, not as I do
Right.
thing. But I was in my head in the uwu, and I was closed off. I was in an office. You know, I had the door locked, so I knew I was safe to stay there. No one could get to me. And here comes Strange, you know, Rickmere. He comes, pulls me, and puts me in a freaking corn maze. And
Oh
that's
no.
he's like, you should use this. And like, he left me there, but he was still there whenever I came back. And like, he's like, you should use this. I was like, I didn't know it was here. He goes, well, I mean, well, it's here now. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
now it
okay.
is. Well, that's a good idea. That sounds to me like we should have Rick Mir on here for tomorrow's guest if possible. Arlo, you think we can make that happen?
Tomorrow,
Tomorrow's
probably
guest.
not. Next week, maybe.
Maybe next Wednesday would be nice. Cool. Well, let's get out there. Let's support Merc and her Merc adventures. Again, find a way to grab onto somebody. Be kind to them. Support them. Talk about whatever's going on in that exact moment with you, right? Get some shared RP experience out of it. If you're the kind of person that's quiet, go out and talk to little people. Make a connection. Again, everybody's coming at it with the same intent. We got your back. We're looking at you going, I want to play with that person. They're awesome.
Tell
So
your
come at 'em
stories and help others tell theirs.
That's right, Bubba. I see you all talking about them kidneys out there, Bubba. We gonna tell them, okay?
Thank you, sir.
That's right. We tell them for you. Tell them kidneys. Appreciate you guys being super sweet. Let's get out of here. I can't say I appreciate it anymore.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next Wednesday.
You loved. Go follow us on YouTube and Twitter and keep following Mr. Conniption here. Go sub to his channel right now. I'm going to gift a sub right now. Some lucky person's getting a gifted sub. I'm doing it. $5. Here we go. Pay. Hang tight. Purchase processing.
Hold on. Wait for it.
Hold on.
Well, oh, there it is.
Maverick just got a subscription, baby! What's up? We might do that every week. So if you want to get a subscription here at Mr. Conniption's, beautiful Twitch thing here, stick around. Cool. That's it, guys. Enjoy it. We'll see you later.
Love you guys. See you in the city.